All right. Good evening, Springs BOE. We are live and you are being recorded and we're streaming to YouTube.
All right, LTV, thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. I apologize for the tardy start to this meeting. Prior to this, we were in executive session where we were discussing some contractual issues and some personnel needs. On that note, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Rachel, would you do roll call, please?
That's Board President Barbara Dayton.
Here.
Vice President Art Fredrickson.
Here.
Trustee Emma Field.
Here.
And Trustee Kate Saris.
Here.
Not in attendance is Pat Brabant.
Okay, if we could all rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if we could all please remain standing for a moment of silence for former teacher of Springs, Jan Collins, who was an art teacher here for a long time and very beloved by the community, passed away recently. Thank you very much. Our first item this evening is an item of recognition or introduction, really, for a new hire who was approved at a prior meeting, but she is here this evening. Deb.
So I want to first thank our community, our parents, our staff for their patience. We went out 3 times looking for a director of people personnel, and I have to admit the 3rd time was a charm. I also want to thank Mr. Burns publicly for assisting us not only with our CSE meetings at a critical time, but also with our search and hiring a new director of people personnel and CIO. So tonight I'm really very happy to announce Lauren Seaton, our new Director of People Personnel and CIO. She comes with a great deal of experience from Central Islip. Like myself, she was interested in really having a hands-on kind of position in a small district on the east end of Long Island. She was a social worker in her other life for almost 16 years in Brentwood School District. So she comes with a great deal of compassion and empathy. She also was very involved in their SEPTA in Brentwood, and she hopes to, again, support our parents and special needs students. She was supervising a great number of teachers in Central Islip, and she will do the same thing here, especially with our new inclusion teachers. She has an interesting background in law. So she was a paralegal. So that law book there is something that's on her bedside table. It's just one of her little quirks that she enjoys the law. And for special ed director, people personnel, that's a plus for us. We're very fortunate to have her. Wish her well in her new career here at Springs School.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here and being part of this community as well.
We're glad to have you here. It is time for public commentary number 1. If anybody here has items, a question about items of board business, which are personnel, policy, and finance, please approach the podium. Yes.
Good evening, David Buda. Just with regard to the agenda, I was trying today to preview your work matters that will be coming up today. I just wanted to let you know that as of an hour before the meeting, none of the links, none of the hyperlinks to any of the documents were available. And even just now, when I tried it on my cell phone, none of the links to any of the documents were working. Although I see that I received the copy of the agenda, which does have all of the file documents, file attachments, and the links, so I'm sure it's been done. I'm just letting you know that they were not available to the public in advance of the meeting, and you should address what snafu occurred and try to avoid it.
Are you talking about like the warrants and stuff like that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'm seeing it. So it's, and, you know, we have a new district clerk and and she's still learning the ropes here. So certain items have to go under both public content and administrative content. So, and I'm sorry, I didn't catch that when I had looked at the,
So if you can just catch up, but I'll be, so long as those relevant documents are available to the public, tomorrow's fine, just to review them. I had, questions about some things, but I can read them for myself if you make them available on the website.
All right, certainly. Great, thank you for mentioning that. Anybody else at this time, either here or at LTV? Nope. Okay, so let's move right along to personnel and another new hire.
And if I could ask the board to separate this one out from the other ones. I am thrilled tonight to introduce Dylan Green, our new music choral teacher for spring school. He is a resident and will have his own child coming here in a few years. And he's really looking forward to his career here at spring school. It's something that even in college he had aspired to, was to be a music teacher in a K-8 district. So I am just thrilled that he's agreed to be here with us, and he's always been a great resource for our opera, our middle school play, lighting, stage, anything you've asked him to do, he would always help us out.
Thank you. So be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby appoints Dylan Green to the music position at a salary of a master's $59,469, start date August 30th, 2023, with a tenure date of August 22nd, 2027. Do I have a motion? Motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Great.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
For the rest of the personnel covered,
Yes, please.
appointment of Lauren Seaton to CSC, CPSC, and 504 chairperson. Appointment daily and hourly rates for recess monitor for Carlo Morgan and Carlos Soria. Appointment of Carlos Soria. So in this case, he will not be a lunch monitor. He's going to be a bus monitor as in addition to the lunch monitor on the special ed bus. Appointment and replacement of the bus driver. This is a new appointment of a bus driver that worked for us for the summer. That is Belfort Spanger. Substitute teachers. We have several certified teachers. Devin Foy, Maureen Belpola is coming back. Lisa Dragona is coming back. Certified sub. And then we have substitutes that are uncertified. Astra Carajava and Carlos Soria for TA. Additional teaching assignment, we had told us the last time, I'm putting it back, it's the .1 for science, Eric Schwab. Resignation of Daniel Pizzo, teacher assistant. I is the memorandum of agreement with UPSU, that is our bus drivers. That contract was a year old, and I'm happy to report that that has been resolved. Leave of absence for a teacher assistant, 1984 is her ID number. Leave of absence for another teacher assistant, no, a teacher, sorry. That's 1251. Extend the leave of a teacher. So it's an extension of her leave till November 24th, 2023. All of these are without pay. A leave replacement appointment, Melanie Juris has agreed to take that extended leave replacement till November. Extracurricular stipends. We have many of them there. They're all consistent with the STA contract. I did the math on this, and we had budgeted $115,000 for the stipends without the ones in the federal grants. And we are under budget. We're coming in about 111 or so. And the only, they're all there. I am really pleased. We had a lot of people step up to do a lot of extracurricular activities for our students. So I thank the STA for that. Appointments of our guards, those are yearly appointments. Appointment of our
Sorry, just to
athletic
clarify,
director.
extracurricular, these are for the whole year, for the whole,
Whole year.
right, and it's not sports.
No, it's not sports. You did the fall sports already at your previous meeting, and that is a different code as well, Barbara. It doesn't come under extracurricular. And you can see which funding, when it says an F2, that's a federal fund. So if it says T1, that's Title I. T4 is Title IV grants. Title III, Title III. And the appointment of the athletic director during camp. That's also a yearly appointment. And that's all of finance, all the way to P.
With personnel. Anybody have any questions at this time? Do I have a motion to move personnel items B through P to consent agenda?
Motion.
Second? All in favor? Aye.
So
Right.
finance information, we're gonna table a revenue status for now. We were awarded $64,254 for the archive grant, which, we were one of only 3 Suffolk County school districts to receive the archive grant, which is for inactive records. It includes funding for 2 dehumidifiers for the basement and 2 individuals from the archive firm to come in and clean our inactive files in the basement. Good news. And then C, just the tax levy that was voter approved in May. And then 6, finance. So this is the we have the warrants for June 2023, cafeteria, the federal, the capital, and the T warrants. We also have the warrants for July for the A, the F, and the T. We also have the claimed order report for June and July. And we have a cooperative education service agreement with Eastern BOCES, which is the final bill, the 2022-23 school year, to now to the $983,399.67. Then F is an IMA with East Hampton School Districts for our bus repair and maintenance. And then G, we have the East Hampton Library vote, which is set for September 23rd, 2023.
And we have the agreement with George Rockland.
I'm sorry?
I see we also have the agreement with George Rockland
Correct,
here
yeah.
in finance instead of in personnel, I guess. Is that normally a finance thing?
It's an agreement with the finance.
So we agree with George Rockwell for $450 a day, not to exceed $4,500. It's funded through Title IIA.
Okay, great. Steve, thank you very much. Really glad to see that this intermunicipal cooperation agreement has finally happened with East Hampton. I mean, we've talked about it for a while now, ever since they talked about buying that property on Springs Fireplace Road. So hopefully we'll be in for seeing some savings for ourselves here, because I know we will not have to send buses up island to be serviced. And
It'll be, of course, savings, just in overtime when 2 drivers have to take a bus up island, just that alone. And we went over to the bus yard to look at it, and they're ready.
Great. Anybody have any questions on finance items at this time? Okay. Do I have a motion to move finance items A through H to consent agenda?
Motion.
Second? All in favor? Aye. And we also need to approve a bunch of minutes. So resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the minutes from the August 11th, 2023 special meeting, August 1st, 2023 work session, July 18th, 2023 special meeting, consultant agreement, the July 11th, 2023 reorganization meeting, and the July 11th regular meeting. Do I have a motion? Second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. We have one item of policy, which is our district-wide safety plan.
However, that required a notice go out to the community, which we did. We put it out in an email to our teachers. We put it out on Parent Square to our parents, and I believe Rachel received 1 response that I'd like her to read to the board for consideration. I don't think it changes this policy. This policy is district. It is crypted on purpose, not to really tell the public details about our safety, but given overall, it is required. After tonight, after you approve it, it does go up to the state of New York for their final approval. And then off of this will come the building plan, which is confidential and it's very specific to Spring Street. Rachel?
Yes. Dear all, thank you for your service to our children, our community, and forwarding the district safety plan. I am Alyssa Pico's dad, class of 23 valedictorian, and Kenny Pico heading into 4th grade. My background is global corporate real estate, property portfolio management, and facilities. At the forefront of all cooperative leadership is the safety of both employees and visitors. Safety first. Your plan is strategic in its outreach, thorough in focus, and especially speaks to communication and chain of command, all essential and strategic in both prevention and implementation to provide solutions and protection. On that note, I did not see any plan of action to address cell and Wi-Fi services missing in the Springs district. Cell and Wi-Fi are critical elements and should be central to any viable communication plan. I have personal experience with this potential exposure for failure. This school year, Alyssa suffered a severe concussion at the school playground. Without cell service in the area, it was impossible to communicate with her or school staff. And further, the burden this must have put on the fine Spring School staff to not be able to reach anyone immediately. I hate to think of the what-if scenarios that required an immediate response from us, but I believe you get my point. The lack of cellular and Wi-Fi coverage is not a potential hazard. It already is a hazard. And frankly, let's admit our local government leadership and the cell service companies have completely failed to ameliorate this issue despite many, many years of talking, promoting, and planning. Our children and our community deserve better, and I believe if the district safety plan is to be fully effective, we must obtain a tangible date certain as to when immediate cellular and Wi-Fi coverage will go into effect in the Springs area. Additionally, an acceptable date can't be reached by the beginning of this school year. Would you agree temporarily emergency measures to erect towers or antenna to enable cell and Wi-Fi should be implemented to ensure the safety of our students and staff and ensure the success of the plan overall? I greatly appreciate your attention to my comments and concerns and look forward to your response as to the next steps regarding expediting either temporary or permanent cell Wi-Fi service for the district. Yours truly, Gerard.
All right, thank you very much. A very valid point. Do we have any idea when there will be cell service available on the Camp Blue Bay Tower
No, the tower is
Spring.
up.
in spring?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's where,
all right.
I did respond to him on some of the things that we do have in place, indicating that the cell service is something they've struggled with. We have extended our Wi-Fi on school grounds. We will make our guest network available to our parents as they enter either our building or their children are involved in our sports. We'll have the athletic department put that out to our parents. Our security guards are receiving new radios. Those radios speak directly to the police department and the fire department. It dispatches directly to 911. They're expensive. Our ESSA funds have funded like 6 of those radios. Our goal would be each year to purchase more of those radios to be a direct line to dispatch. We have discussed, and there is wiring on the ground for what's called a call box, very similar to what they have on college campuses. That would not involve a great deal of effort or money on our part. So it is something that we're exploring. Put that call box, make it very available, with a high sign that says call box, and it will call out to the police department. And I think that is something that can be put into place rather quickly. And we have our antenna on our building and radios in all our buses. And our bus drivers are really good at letting us know if there's anything in the community that we need to be aware of. A road is closed, tree down or something like that, to help us put something out to Parent Square. And Parent Square has been a lifesaver. It's on our phones. It's very easy for us to keep parents informed if there's any emergency during the school. We ask that our parents make sure that they sign up for Parents.
Right. Can the antenna on our school host any sort of cellular service?
Not without a lot of hoops.
Yeah. Because of being a school district and
Correct.
state ed approval
And our cell tower has to make sure it doesn't hit any spot where there's children on the school grounds or a home. So we had looked at this a long time ago, Barbara, and we can't guarantee that if that tower came down, it wouldn't be on our field or hit, a house. We just don't have enough of a radius.
What about having one on the roof? Like back farther on the roof?
It's something we can look into.
Yeah.
It couldn't be that tall because again, it can't, fall off the roof.
No, it could fall and land on the roof.
Right, onto the roof, so it could be that tall.
Right, yeah. Well, I'm glad you're looking into the emergency line, because I was actually gonna ask about that. I was like, should I ask about that? That's really old fashioned to have like a dedicated line, but maybe that's what it takes.
It's on all your college campuses, every few feet there's one.
Right, yes.
Because again, we're not the only ones that, have a problem with cell service. So.
This is the blue light hardline phone network.
Yeah, you pick it up and you hit it and it goes straight to the police department. It needs to be hardwired.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. We can't put them all over our campus because you'd be trenching and everything. But there is one pole over by the circle that is hardwired.
Right.
So that could easily have, it's better than nothing. If you're trying to call for EMS and you can't get through, at least you can send somebody to run and get that.
But that's different than the cell tower style signal. This is just a hardline pole
Yeah.
that,
Goes directly to the police.
Right.
For emergency purposes,
Right.
yeah.
so that doesn't have the same radius fall or anything. Right?
No, it's not a
separate
pole.
from that.
It's not a pole, it's a button.
It's just a button
It's a
on a
button.
box or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hardwired with a telephone line and an electric bolt directly to the police department.
It's great.
At least for, out on the field on the weekend.
Yeah.
But, when our security guards are here till 6 o'clock and they have those radios, so in case you're trying to reach 911, all of our classrooms can dial out to 911. I know that Suffolk County is working on the ability to text to 911, but they haven't come up with that yet, but it is available in other places, so it is something that could come down. But sometimes you can't call, but you can get a text out.
Right.
Is the Wi-Fi supposed to be covering like the whole campus right now?
It covers most of the campus. We do have some spots that, it's not as good. You have to be kind of near the building. We have some outdoor spots, but not all over.
In fact, are we working to extend that so that it is a little more reliable? Because I think that's the problem, is that people maybe don't want to be so dramatic as to hit a blue light if there's a problem, but they would like to be able to like call a reinforcement. And there's, when I park in the back, I couldn't get anything through, and I'm connected to Wi-Fi, so I have the password.
I can sometimes walk out to my car and I get 6 or 7 text messages, and then other times I'm sitting in my office and they come through right away. I think it almost is also about what's being used at the time. Definitely agree.
Okay, well, that parent brought up a good point, so I'm glad we're taking some action on that.
Did you want to see if there's any other comments on this, Barbara, so that the board can adopt it?
Oh, actually, yes, of course. So at this time, are there any other comments or questions about the district-wide safety plan? From anyone here or at LTV?
We have no callers.
Okay, thank you. So be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the district-wide safety plan for the 2023-2024 school year. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Great, thank you. And we get our principal's report, Mr. Kelly.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. So we'll start with our summer program, and before we get into what they were and their success, I just want to thank everyone who was involved with that, teachers, assistants, nurses, everyone who was here, greeters. It was a wonderful thing. We had 2 programs going, our extended school year for our special ed students and an ENL Jumpstart program as well. And they were both very successful. Students were here almost every day. We had a very great attendance rate. Students were engaged, they were happy. The learning was fun. The learning was also rigorous at times, and students were able to be engaged in standards and prepare for next year and catch up from the previous year and prevent the summer slide. So thank you to everyone who worked those summer programs. Then we'll transition to opening the school. Some more thank yous. As you can see, our maintenance crew and custodial staff have been working diligently to get the school nice and beautiful and prepared for our students, for families to come in. And so a big shout out to them. There's a group of wonderful people who are working to beautify the school and organize certain things such as retired jerseys, sports uniforms, our opera photos and stuff. So they're in a central location so we could celebrate the current and honor the past as well, but in a organized fashion. So thank you to those folks as well. This week we opened our school to teachers. They're in here. A lot of teachers have come through, starting to set up their classrooms, get prepared for kids. We did send out a checklist to teachers just to get them started of what we'll be looking for to make sure we're safe, make sure students are learning, make sure they're engaged in all the cultural pieces as well. So that's going on. We've accomplished a lot in a pretty short time. I'm proud to announce that. So we have all of our stipend positions filled. We've got the safety plans wrapped up. Our superintendent's conference day is planned, as well as new teacher orientation, kindergarten orientation. And we're now working on finalizing our student and faculty handbooks, which will be ready this week. So we are very excited about that. We're ready to roll. We can't wait for our students and teachers to be here full time. That's really what motivates us and our passion, and that's opening day for us. And so we can't wait for that point. And finally, if we pull up, this is one of the most exciting parts that occurred over the summer. So we have our mission, vision, values, and a philosophy that we set in place. The mission was developed by the board. It's the same mission, obviously, that we've adopted here at Spring School. What we did do is develop our vision, values, and philosophy that are aligned to that. The way we did that is through meetings with teachers. Our ILT has met as well. So we took data, both quantitative and qualitative, and took that mission statement and said, what do we need to do, or what do we need to accomplish to ensure that our mission is met? And so it's very simple. Our vision, we could easily have all staff members by the end of superintendent's conference day know our mission and values very easily, and it's going to guide us in everything we do. So our vision, work collaboratively, empower students. Very simple. We all have to be on the same page. We all have to be working in the best interest of kids. If we do so, great things are going to happen here at school. Then we'll get into our values. So we're saying we want to soar with the osprey. So if we live these 4 values, if the teachers, the staff, the students embrace this: service, optimism, accountability, and respect, then we're going to take the school to new heights, and we definitely will soar with the osprey. This is going to be something that you're going to see and hear throughout the school when we praise and redirect students, or when we have to have conversations with staff members to hold each other accountable or to celebrate them. It's all going to go back to what we say we're valuing here at Spring School. So that's going to be a big part. And then finally, just yesterday, we wrapped up our philosophy with a bunch of stakeholders. It's really, what do we want to live for? What do we want to share with the community, that when people come here to Spring School, this is what we're doing. So That being said, we believe every student thrives when expectations are high and a structured learning environment is provided. We accept and believe in all students. And so this document here is going to be something that's going to be living and breathing and part of our common language throughout the course of the future of Springs. And it's really going to set us all to be on the same page and do great things for our kids, work as a family to get there, make sure all of our students' dreams come true.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. I love this. I love the very concise vision. I love Soar with the Osprey.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Really great. So you've clearly been very busy all summer. Hopefully you got a little time with your family.
A little bit.
Miss you guys. No, I'm just kidding.
No, these, this is really great. We've talked about our, we talked about our vision and goals, which goals we will be talking about soon.
Yes, the next
Um,
workshop.
But this is, the way this is presented is very clear, very concise, and, it's really what we are about. So I think we kind of nailed this here.
And
Work that's gone into this.
thank you, but it was a collective effort, of course. I want to make sure that's very clear. So teachers, staff, thank you for support. We have 3 members here who helped develop it as well. And then just the interviews that we've been having with teachers one-on-one, a lot of great feedback. And so we're ready as a group to collectively do amazing things. And I'm excited.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are going to hop into our superintendent's report now.
Start with enrollment. We are 2 weeks away from the opening of school.
Can you speak up, please?
We're 2 weeks away from the opening of school, and we're going to look at enrollment. As soon as those yellow buses roll is usually when we get a lot of children registering. So just keep that in mind. Our kindergarten from last year, I am comparing the enrollment from August 22nd, 2022. Okay, so our enrollment is up in kindergarten to 65, and we are 3 sections, very similar to last year. So the class size there is something for us to keep an eye on. It's 21.7. Our first grade is down. That's the class last year that we went to 3 sections for kindergarten, but it's down from even last year, where we were at 67 last August. We're at 57 this August. Our second grade is also down, 79 last year at this time, and we're at 66 this year. Yet our third grade is up, 81 this year compared to 73 last August. Fourth grade is up, 68 this year, 61 last August. Fifth grade down 70 from 79. Sixth grade up 75 from 56. And eighth grade is down 70 from 82. Our class sizes, range anywhere from the lowest in second grade, 16.5, to the highest of 23.3 in eighth grade. So far at the high school, pre-K is full if you show all the pending slots. So we are approved for 54 students, 18 in each class. Teacher and a teacher assistant. We can go to 20, but you would need another teacher assistant, and we're already short in that department. So we will tell those parents that they're on a wait list, and if we're able to get more staff, we could possibly take 2 more children into each one of those classes. But it must have an additional teacher assistant, and those are state regs, those aren't ours.
So those are held at 18 each right now.
Yes. I'm fully full.
How many kids on the wait list?
83 pending. On your high school, we are down 9th graders compared to last year at this time, and 10th graders. Last year, the 9th grade was at 93 at this time, went to 85. 10th grade is at 75 29 now, is at 105 last year. We got hit really hard in March and April in the high school numbers, so keep that in mind. We budgeted for 389 and we're at 370 right now. And so a good buffer, but anything can change between now and September, and then we got to keep that in mind going forward. We're keeping an eye on this daily.
Is there a waiting list for the, because obviously all these track, but the kindergarten is what shows you the future of the school, right? If you had the numbers in 5th grade last year, they're up to 6th grade now. So those are potentially static. Obviously, we have new students moving in the community, but the pre-K is like a brand new group. Did we have a waiting list last year?
No.
Okay, so this year is the first year that we have a waiting list for the pre-K. At least as compared to last year. I'm not sure if we go back.
Well, there was one year that this board offered out of the general fund to fund a pre-K class because there were 70 kids. Remember that? That might be one of our large groups right now. That might be the 6th I've been here.
Did we have a class here in addition to Whitmore?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I forget what year it was. Patty Hicks did that pre-K class. It was in the SYA building in the back. So we'll keep a close eye on it.
Thank you.
Appreciation and recognition of summer work. I want to echo what Mr. Kelt said about our custodians and our maintenance department. They are just rocking it, and they are taking such pride in their work. I mean, to Rocky power washing the fence over here, he says, I don't know if this is worth my effort. I think we just need new fence over here. It's, the split rail fence. I just love seeing that pride. And on your agenda tonight is to give me a date and time that you want to do a walkthrough through the building before school opens. But to our administrators, they have worked hard. I've had to more or less force them to take some time off because I know they need to spend time with their family, and they have been working really hard. Our clerical are here every day working so hard, and doing tasks that sometimes they weren't normally doing. We're down in our business office, usually leaving, and they're just picking up the slack. Brenda has been great. Jane White has been coming in to help with Karen. It just feels like the team is doing it. Our teachers are back. Our teachers have been very respectful. The reason we are so far in the cleaning process is because of that respect. We put out something asking people not to be in and out of the building, and gave them the first opportunity this week to come in, and they are in. But that really helps the custodians and the maintenance do their job when they know that they can do it safely and there's nobody in and out of the building. But yet, if there were those that needed to come in, we made arrangements for them to do that. So I just want to thank everybody for all their efforts. It's really, we are in an incredible place right now. No construction. The rain has hampered a little bit of our, our work outside, but a few nice days and the maintenance department should be able to take care of everything outside. But again, I want to personally thank everybody. Tomorrow, if anybody's around at lunchtime, I'll be treating the staff that's worked this summer to lunch. Please feel free to stop by and say thanks. We'll be here in the library.
Thank you.
UPK funding. So that nice competitive grant that the district received is what's considered now the third pot of money. So we had one pot of money for the longest time. It was $61,200. That's state UPK money, period. It went to originally 23 half-day students. When we went to full day, we were able to divide that and take 11.5 UPK full-time students. Then we got the competitive grant, which reimburses the district $10,000 per student if all teachers are certified. They have now moved that money to the third pot and gave us more UPK money out of the goodness of their hearts. The UPK money is $5,400 per student. I must use that money first before I can go to the third pot of money. That between those two grants, the UPK state is what they call it, we have 35.5 pre-K students. So we can only use the 10,000 for approximately 18 students, which is $180,000. It is going to have an impact to us. We're looking at ESSA funds to see where we can pick up $19,500. Because that's going to be the cost to us, because Scope is charging us $5,800 per child. And we thought we'd recover that with the federal money. But that federal money is only going to go so far. Because it has to also pay for your custodian that cleans that building, your security that helped with car line. We have rent to East Hampton Town for the SYA building of 20 grand. These are all approved amounts for that grant. In fact, I'm happy to report that as of tomorrow, we will see our reimbursement for the UPK program sent to the school district for over 200 and something $1,000. So what happens with these grants is you lay it out, you have to do a final expenditure report, and then they send it to you electronically. And we know that we need every dollar that we can, so we immediately did the final report to the state and got notification today that they approved our final expenditures on that. So that's where we are. I have written to the governor, I have written to the commissioner, I have written to Assemblyman Beal, and I know NISBA and the school superintendents are also indicating you have given all this money for UPK, now let us spend it the way we see fit. A lot of districts are not accessing the money at all because some of the money cannot be used for building additional space, converting a space. So for some Nassau County districts that have no space, they want to do pre-K, but they can't spend $200,000 out of their general fund to do renovations, and they won't let them use the money the way that they need to use it to make the programs work. I just wanted to be sure that you are aware of the latest on the UPK fund. If anything changes, I will talk to you.
Okay, thanks, Deb. All right, we have one item of old business, which is our bus loop.
So if you notice, we did not do the bus loop this summer.
No.
It was planned. Mr. Jones worked really hard in trying to get 3 quotes on this job. He was not successful to get 3 quotes for the entire job. He was able to piecemeal it, but then in the end, supplies are expensive and they're all really very busy. A lot of districts are spending their ESSA funds on outdoor education. So finding somebody to get the job done this summer is just near impossible coming out this way. Okay. So they're going to do their best to make sure that that bus loop is safe. There's a couple of curb things that they have to work on, little potholes here and there, especially at the end of this driveway here, that they'll do their very best to ensure that they're safe. Our insurance reciprocal is asked to come out. Mm-hmm. So hopefully he won't find any concerns, or if he does, there are concerns that we can easily fix in-house.
I saw the sidewalk out front was repaired in-house, right?
Yes.
Got taken care of, yeah.
Yes.
Good.
But there's a big pothole out here at the end of this driveway.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Deb. And moving on to new business. We had a alumni get in touch, right?
Yes. So Richard Ferrara is a graduate who happens to have a sign business. And he came by this summer and saw the sign right outside the library and said, that needs to be replaced. I met with him. He is working with Ocean Graphics, who has already come out to give us some prices on that sign. So before he donates that sign, of course, he will run his ideas before the Board of Education but he is offering to fully either restore the sign or replace the sign at his own cost.
That's very nice because that was on the list of the student government, right? One of the
Correct.
things that they weren't able to get to this year. So, all right, cross one thing off there. That's very good.
And then B, we would like your blessing to go ahead and spend about $8,500 on repainting the lockers in the third grade wing. It doesn't need your voter approval, but it was one of the things that I believe, Barbara, it was you that you wanted us to look into 3 prices. One for replacing the lockers, and about 36,000. Painting the lockers, that's the 85. Or Nick looked at film that you would put on a car. We did 1 locker there. It wasn't done to perfection because you still have to sand and that. That came in at about $19,000. So I'm making the suggestion that we go with the 85 and spruce up the lockers in the third grade wing. They're really in good condition handle wise. And then we just have to help your committee there, maybe decide on a color.
Oh, yes, that's out of my
right up your
hands.
alley?
Yeah, that's they're going to be very excited to choose a color. I'm sure whatever they choose is going to be perfect.
All right. But the lockers were also on his list here.
Yes.
Okay.
Right?
And they're pretty unsightly considering
Yeah.
everything else, how beautiful the rest of the school looks. Seeing those just like, oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's more of a cosmetic issue. Functionally, mechanically, they're in good order.
Yeah.
Correct.
So painting them is not something that we'll have to replace them in 5 years. They're actually okay. This will be a nice upgrade to them.
Yeah, we wouldn't make the recommendation if we thought that they were really in poor shape and needed to be.
And is this just painting the door or is it painting the
No,
inside
painting
also?
inside as well.
Okay,
Oh, nice.
that's great.
Yeah, they come in, they
Not
spray,
brown.
they cover the floor, right? They cover the floor.
Color floor.
Will we get them done before the school year? I'm not sure. So if we find out that it has to be done after the school year starts, then we'll have all the children remove their stuff in the lockers. Appropriate plan, but
Okay. Like over a vacation or something.
yeah. Or we can, it, really depends. The gentleman did come out on a Sunday, so I don't think.
Yeah.
He's opposed to coming out on a weekend.
Well, you just want like painty stuff to air out before kids start putting stuff back into it, right?
Yeah.
So maybe.
Yeah, I don't know really what's involved. And there is possibly a donation of $1,000 towards that.
Okay. Very nice.
Thank you.
Okay, yes. Is that a painting the locker means everyone's approval? Yeah. All right.
You like that color?
The mint green? Not really.
I don't think something dark. I think that hallway is kind of on the light side. The floor is the dark terrazzo floor, so maybe something light.
Okay. And yes, I see we need to have a facilities walkthrough date. Kate, we usually, once the building is in shape before school starts, the board just does a walkthrough to see what's going on and how great everything looks. So
Maybe that can be combined with your executive meeting
right,
next
finishing
week.
our discussion. Right. Okay.
Just the 29th is good for both Nick and Mr. Jones, if you want them
And
here.
it's a Tuesday, so I
Yeah.
have nothing booked. I never know.
Also, that's the day that they're coming for the gym floor, so it might be a good opportunity to get an update on what the company found on the gym floor.
Okay. So does the 22nd, 29th,
29th?
sorry, work for everyone here?
Yes.
All right, so we'll check with Pat about that. Great.
And this way, it still gives us, a week if there's something that you see that you want, done before school actually opens.
Oh, and so what time, since,
You tell that they, Nick is already here and Kevin said he'd make himself available.
okay, it's like earlier better, 5?
Earlier is
5:30?
better.
Yeah,
I think 5,
5?
that would work for everyone else.
5?
Is that the early that you were thinking? Like
5 is great.
5 would be fine for me, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you both. Thank you all.
Just put that in there. So walk through that. So.
Great. All right, it's time for public commentary number 2 at this time. If anybody has any additional items of concern, come to the podium or call in on LTV. So yes, Mr. Buddha, you want to come on up?
Thank you again, and welcome to the newcomers who I'm seeing for the first time. Hopefully we'll have a wonderful year for everyone. And I do hope that you can get the problem with the website straightened out. So in the future, all of the information that you intend to make available to the public is made available before the meeting.
The website or the agenda?
Well, the web link to board docs.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
I go to the website and then go to board docs. So 2 things. One, I don't know about anyone else in the room, but I certainly had a hard time, not impossible, hearing everything that was going on today. So I'd like you to give some serious consideration the possibility of having an audio person take a look at maybe tying in the audio system that feeds LTV to some type of broadcast speaker in the room just to amplify the sound. This arrangement, which is different than in some prior years where you're talking to each other and not to the public, makes it even more difficult sometimes to hear what's going on. You really have to strain, and then of course with the air conditioning in the background humming, it makes it that much more difficult for people to hear you. And I'd appreciate it if you could give some consideration to some type of minor amplification system that would be picking up from the feed that you put into LTV.
I know we have a microphone system, which we've used before, so I don't know if that has an issue interfering with these current microphones that we're using for LTV, but we can certainly look into that.
Okay. Next, I'm in a bit of a pickle. I wanted to have a conversation with the board concerning use of the school facilities, particularly the tennis courts, now known as the quasi pickleball courts. I don't know the full history of how the tennis courts, basketball court, second basketball court, and handball wall were built. I assume that they were built by the school district sometime in the past, but I don't really know so. But I certainly know that the town has been involved and the community has been involved in maintaining the tennis courts. And obviously the town was involved in building the Springs Youth Association building, which you now have been able to use as a pre-K facility. So you have, although it's clearly on school grounds, there are facilities that the public appreciates and uses very heavily. Tennis courts, pickleball courts now have pickleball lines for anyone that doesn't know that. And it's been a wonderful benefit this summer to be able to use that facility, whether it's 100% deemed to be school district property or town facility on a school district property. I'm not sure what the legalities are. I know it's complex. It's an unusual situation. Yes. So I want to bring to your attention, first of all, the only current signage on the courts is a sign that says tennis courts closed 7 a.m., 3:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, school in session. I assume the word missing there is when school is in session. So obviously you should use those courts for your gym classes, whatever type of recess recreation you might need for those courts. Obviously the school has the first priority, but I don't know what your gym schedule is. I don't know how much of the tennis courts are used for the gym classes and the gym and the tennis team, assuming you have a tennis team. But obviously, to the extent that the public can continue to use those courts or some of those courts, sometimes when the school doesn't need them, it would be greatly appreciated if you give that some consideration and some attention. I don't know that why the court should be closed at 7 a.m. I don't know that any students are here at 7 a.m., but believe it or not, there are tennis players out there at 7 in the morning playing tennis, at least in the summer. So when it comes to the fall and the spring, the fringe seasons, there's a need and a desire to use that facility to the fullest by the public to the extent that it does not interfere with school needs and school priorities. So
Understood. Thank you.
and then lastly, to the extent that the school is responsible for what goes on the tennis courts during the off-season when school is not in session, I appreciate it if you would consider posting signage, or the town should post signage as far as advising people that because there is more of a demand than there is a need, facility, put some kind of reasonable limits, 1 hour sessions when people are waiting, and some type of rule and a regulation prohibiting professional instructors from giving lessons there, which is going on a regular basis. It disrupts the ability of the general public to use the facility. So I know it's a bit of an odd situation.
And we have a strange situation there, Mr. Fuda, and it is mixed use there. It's school property. The town owns the courts. We will have to figure this out with the school, with our
Town
security.
owns the courts?
The town built the courts.
See, that I didn't know.
So it's a very, the town knows it's unusual. We know it's unusual. It should never have happened the way it did, but it did. So we just have to figure out.
So let's make the best of it.
We'll make the best of it. We'll check in with the town about their regulation, and we'll talk to our security, because this campus does need to be closed during school hours. So we need to figure out, the best way for, the community to use those while maintaining school security and making sure the facilities are kept in, good with clear signs. And so, yeah, we can certainly look into clarifying.
Obviously, you know the school better than I do, but obviously in the summer, cars go to the courts. There's no access to the rest of the school. There was no interference that I could see with whatever school programs you had going on. So you really do need to address the issue, improve the situation, maximize the public usage and ability to use the facility to the extent that it does not interfere with the school.
Thank you, Mr. Groove. Okay, anybody else?
We do have a caller on the line.
You do? Well, all right, put them through, please.
Hi, my main call is I just want to take the time to thank you and welcome Eric Kell to the Springs community. His reputation precedes him from his time in Louisiana, and I think we're very fortunate to have him with us here in Springs. And I do hope that the entire community comes out to see him, greet him, and welcome him as he leads our school into the future. Welcome, Mr. Kelp.
Can you please tell us who you are, caller?
Sure, my name is Brett Serreris. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, thank you very much for calling in. We appreciate that. Thank you. Great. Just checking that wasn't your dad.
You're Kelp. Thanks, Dad.
Anybody else at this time? Any other callers? Okay.
No more callers.
Great, thank you very much. In that case, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second? Second. All in favor?